Caspar here on the 29th of August 2023. I've got an interesting one here. This is a bottle that has been in our wine rack for so long I've lost track. And every time I take it out, I put it back again. And as a result, as you can probably see, the label has picked up untold nicks from the metal parts of the wine rack as I withdraw it and return it. So as you've probably seen, it is Reiver Shiraz from the firm of Mitolo. 2002 vintage, so we're looking at a properly old Aussie wine, and I think you know, I've looked it up on Cellar Tracker, and a lot of reports seem to say that it should really have been consumed by now. Looking at 14.5% on the back label, so pretty much in line with what Bordeaux is these days. Nothing overly shocking or surprising there, and it's deep in colour. It's not opaque by any stretch, and as you'd expect, it's got a really quite significant sign of aging at the rim. It's a narrow band that's sort of taken on a mahogany colour, but there's a lot of red still left in there. It's a Barossa wine, by the way. So let us give it a go. I opened this at, I don't know, what time is it now? It's 7:15 in the evening. I probably opened it at 5 and I decanted it 3/4 of an hour ago, something like that. Let us smell it. Well, it's clean, it's taken on a fully tertiary characteristic really, and it has an aroma that I sometimes find in old bottle-aged Brunello de Montalcino, which is a kind of almost singed hair aroma. Singed earth. It's very dark, but it's not overtly fruity. Any fruitiness has been taken in by the bottle age, and elements of spice to it as well. But a sort of turmeric, sandy quality. There is a sort of a dark fruit paste concentration within that tertiary personality, and a little bit of perhaps offal, a little bit meaty but not bready. It's a fascinating nose, you know, as tertiary wines often are. It's a really interesting thing to smell. There's perhaps a little bit of dried herb in there as well. Nothing to do with Northern Rhone Syrah. It's something completely, and actually as I swirl it, perhaps more of the Barossa character comes out. Slightly, almost slightly gummy fruit coming through the tertiary bits, and a little bit of biscuit barrel. Well, something that strikes you quite quickly is that it doesn't come across like a big wine. It's still got some tannins at the end that are very clean, and just structure the finish to give the whole thing shape and purpose. It's medium plus weight. There's a bit of rooty licorice as well. It's got an earthy characteristic, which is really rather appealing, I must say. Little bit of mushroom as well. And the fruit is really nicely designed. It's shot through with a bit of red, but it's predominantly black and a dark sort of plummy berry fruit. But the acidity that runs through it is super, and whether it's fruit derived acidity It's very nicely integrated and really quite credible acidity, keeping the whole thing fresh. You know, it's got nice length to it. I had no expectations for this wine at all. One of the reasons I kept putting it back on the wine rack was because I thought it might be over the top and have shuffled off. But on this evidence, you know, there probably isn't any massive hurry to drink this. Gosh, it's changing all the time. There's a bit of sort of charred caramelized barbecued meat to it as well. Some salami-like sense. It's got lovely flow, it's got fluidity, and it's backed by these fine, clean, fine-grained tannins that are also very, very credible. So the structure is very credible. The fruit is delightful, nicely pure, well-defined. It's got good length. It's got some elegance to it, and I think that's probably being brought about by the bottle age. So, you know, maybe we're drinking these Barossa wines way too young. You know, one of the problems for Australian winemakers is because of in certain regions is that because of the climate, the wines are drinkable really on release, and I think a lot of the which is in some ways is very good for the winemakers because it means people drink them and come back and buy more. But the shame, the downside of that is that people really would never leave a wine this long, 21 years, 21 and a half years. I shouldn't think there are many bottles of this left in the world, but well worth hanging on to, I presume. And I can't remember the last bottle of this I have, but I presume I must have had a case of it at some stage. All long gone. I certainly haven't drunk one for maybe a decade, and possibly more than a decade. But actually, what I'd really like, is a case of it right now, because I think it's probably showing at its best. Yeah, it's got, and as it breathes, faint whiff of something slightly exotic, like guava almost, but it's very faint, and a really interesting wine, fully mature, clearly. But I am enjoying it very much. I'm going to have it with some venison liver. What a thing! Well, I'm glad. You know, I'm glad I've opened it. Glad I've talked to you about it. It's a really nice bottle of wine. Not going to drink it all, but another couple of glasses shouldn't hurt me. That's been 2002 Reiver Shiraz from the firm of Mitolo, Barossa Valley wine in full flow of maturity and an absolute delight.